One.
Okay, he is good. 3, 2, 1.
New batch of T-shirts. This is the Rob Gronkowski, Suns Out, Guns Out, sleeveless, of course, tank top for Gronk, the Gronkaneers. That's the back of that. Comes in white. And we also have the T-shirt version of Gronkaneers. These are available on the website. Then we have my favorite. When we got our cease and desist letter, part of the letter says his first name is Tom, in case we didn't realize that, and his last name is Brady, and he wears number 12. Well, we figured we'd put that on the T-shirt since we can't sell the Tampa Bay T-shirts anymore. And then in the cease and desist, they did say that they appreciated our enthusiasm. So there you have it. These are the new additions there.
This one's cozy.
These are nice and soft.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those are the new T-shirts there, available on the website, danpatrick.com. And buy them now
30.
before the next cease and desist letter
I
shows
think I've
up.
ever seen you fold.
I'm called Nick Fold. Nick Fold.
You didn't work at the Gap.
Nick Folds is my name. The Gap. Well, the Gap's going out of business, aren't they? Or is that J. Crew? Source told me this yesterday. We were talking about Jordan Love. He said, if you're not ready to play for at least 2 years at the quarterbacking position, you're not a first-round draft pick. Not in today's NFL. You're not a first-round draft pick. How many quarterbacks are drafted and they have... Understand this. Jordan Love is supposed to be maybe a watered-down version of Patrick Mahomes. Maybe, or his style is like Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes sat for 1 year behind a Pro Bowl quarterback who led them to the playoffs in Alex Smith, and he became the starter. They traded Alex Smith. And we looked at Patrick Mahomes and said, maybe he's a little rough around the edges. Maybe it's going to take him a little time. You know, he's got some bad tendencies here, got a great arm, he's athletic, he's smart. That took 1 year. Now you're telling me that Jordan Love is going to take 2 to 3 years? That's not a first-round quarterback. Not. Jalen Hurts is ready to play now more than Jordan Love is, in my opinion. Yeah, Paul.
It's true, but I just went back and looked at a bunch of draft profiles and negative draft comments on Patrick Mahomes when he's selected, and the word project is used. He's a great prospect. He has great throwing ability, but he has never played in an NFL system. There's a lot of good future quarterback possibility stuff with Mahomes.
Well, I think that's where, and obviously Andy Reid knows quarterbacks, and Andy saw something and said, I can make that work. I don't know how many other teams. Now, this is where you get revisionist history. Hey, we had a high grade. Now, Sean Payton, to his credit, did say they were taking Patrick Mahomes. If the Chiefs did not take him, they were taking him. And he said that. I haven't heard any other team say, you know what, we had a really high grade on Patrick Mahomes. You know, you have teams now that talk about Russell Wilson. Oh, you know, we were going to take him. Oh, we had him high on the board. Everybody passed on him a couple of times through. So you weren't that high on him. If you were, you would have done what the Packers did with Jordan Love. Imagine that. Jordan Love is not ready to play. Now, people looked at Russell Wilson as a backup quarterback. He was going to be like Tavares Jackson. We just don't know. He was compared to Seneca Wallace. That's why when it comes to quarterback play, I don't know what Jordan Love is going to be. Because I've had people in Wisconsin say, you might be eating your words on Jordan Love. That's okay. I don't know how good he is. So if I'm eating my words, it's don't take Jordan Love now. He doesn't help you now unless you don't think this team is truly a 13-win team, which they clearly don't. The over-under is 9 for the Packers. You're taking Jordan Love. You've never taken a wide receiver in the first round. A draft that was full of wide receivers. You didn't get one. Prior to the draft, I said on the show, there's enough wide receivers that every team will get one. Well, guess who didn't? Green Bay. At what point do you say, if we don't have something that resembles football practice by this date, then the season's in jeopardy?
I think that you can go as long as August 1st before players are on campus and practicing. That would be the latest, I would say, for an on-time, on-schedule season. It could be more mid-July. People I've talked to, commissioners, ADs, basically June 1, they want to have a pretty good idea. June 15, they want to have a better idea. July 1, probably drop dead as far as yes or no, we're going to play starting August 29th / Labor Day weekend.
I was told by a source a couple of days ago that what you're probably going to look at, and this changes every day, but you'd have 10 games that you would play. 9 would be in the conference. And if you played a game outside the conference, Ohio State would play Ohio University, or it'd be a bus trip. You would not. But he said, look, the Pac-12 is the one that's really in trouble here because of what's going on in the state. And, you're all the way up in Washington, you're in Oregon, you're in Arizona. That's going to make it pretty tough. What do you make of those thoughts?
Yeah, I think that both are viable thoughts for sure. I think that they're looking definitely at models for a shortened season, conference heavy. As you said, maybe a non-conference game. They're going to definitely be trying to curtail expenses. The one thing that the Pac-12 obviously is a whole different situation right now. But even within conferences, Dan, in the ACC, Clemson may say, hey, let's go. Boston College may be saying, wait a minute.
Yeah.
In the Big Ten, Iowa may be saying, let's play. Rutgers is saying, we can't. Yeah. So this is going to be fascinating to me. First of all, conference by conference. And is this the beginning of the long-discussed, prophesied schism of college football where a powerful group goes one way and everybody else goes the other, or not? Is it where the SEC says we're playing, the Big Ten says we're not sure whether we're playing, the Pac-12 says no, we're not? I think that this could open up some real fractures within the game that we've already seen, at least talked about for many years.
Yeah, I think those are great points, and I wonder if let's say the SEC says we're voting, we're playing. Vanderbilt says we can't do that. And does the SEC say, all right, hey, have a nice off season here. We're going to play football. Does the Big Ten say to Northwestern or Rutgers, sorry, guys, sorry you can't play? Like, are we going to get to that point where, it's almost infighting in the own conference?
Oh, I think that the conferences will do everything they can to avoid that, especially really SEC, Big Ten. The SEC's, going back to Mike Slive, one of the hallmarks of his tenure was solidarity. We do everything together. We stay in lockstep. We're in agreement on big issues, even if we're not really. That's the public what we're going to present. So they'll try to avoid it. But yes, could it come to that? Absolutely. And I think that then you're looking at the event eventually is, well, why is Vanderbilt in our conference anyway? They don't really seem to fit here. Or, why did we bring Rutgers into the Big Ten? What have they done exactly? So, I think this opens up a big philosophical can of worms going back to conference allegiance and alliances, some of these that are decades or almost a century old. I think people in the Big 12 have been sitting around, if you're in the state of Texas, saying, Iowa State, Kansas State, really? Do we need you? So these discussions could be had as we go along.
I know you love talking about Rick Pitino, no longer at Louisville, but the remnants are still there. NCAA knocked on the door again at Louisville. Here's Rick Pitino at Iona. Give us sort of the Cliff Notes version of what's happening and what could happen in this situation.
Yeah, Louisville got notice of allegations this week from the NCAA for not the strippers and hooker scandal, the one after the scandal after that scandal.
Oh, this is where they pay to recruit $100,000, right?
Yes, the $100,000 agreement for Brian Bowen, some other payments for other people. So they got a level 1 violation allegation, which is the most serious, 3 level 2s. Pitino, I thought, was very fortunate to only get a level 2 allegation against him, but it's still a serious deal. That would preclude him. He would not be subject to a show cause penalty, which could take him out of things for a longer period of time, but he could be hit with up to a half-season suspension at Iona whenever this thing grinds through the NCAA process, which could be a year from now. So Pitino not off the hook, but probably got away a little bit lighter than some people expected. Louisville, on the other hand, could still get hammered. So he could be coaching theoretically in a postseason that Louisville is banned from.
But I wonder if the NCAA looks at Louisville. They decided to clean house, and are they a little more lenient on Louisville because Louisville took the right steps to get these people out of those positions?
Yeah, this is one of the more interesting cases, I think, in a while, Dan, for that reason, because Louisville got rid of everybody at a time when everybody else that was involved in the federal corruption probe got rid of nobody. Bill Self stayed. Sean Miller stayed. Will Wade stayed. Bruce Pearl stayed. Pitino was gone in a day. Tom Jurich, the AD, was gone in a short amount of time. The president of the school left. The board of trustees was remade. So they did a lot of things there. Now, the cynic among us may point out, well, yeah, they didn't do anything after the first scandal. They waited till the second one before they got rid of everybody. So it's going to be an interesting balancing act, I think, for the NCAA to decide, do we smash a school that got rid of everyone, or do we give them credit for good behavior or reformed behavior?
My biggest whiff on the show, making a prediction. Now, if you want to do college to pro, who was going to be good or not good? Yeah, Paulie?
Basketball or football? Or do you have one of each?
I have one whiff that is pretty glaring. And, does anybody have a guess on my biggest? Well, it may not be my biggest whiff. I'm not sure. But I know that I whiffed on this call. Yeah, McLevin.
I have a couple whiffs that I know you made, but they weren't bad.
Okay.
I mean,
we don't have to rub
EJ
it in.
Manuel, but you were right. You
I said EJ Manuel was going to be a first-round pick. And
So you nailed that.
I loved his personality. I didn't know if he'd be any good. I said I loved his personality. He'd be a first-round pick. So I won't take a cold third on that one.
No. The other one that jumps to mind is, and I think it was you who's excited one day about Logan Thomas.
Yes,
out of
that's
Virginia
it.
Tech.
That's my whiff.
Oh, get out of here.
That's my whiff. No, McLevin, I said he was going to win the Heisman.
You did.
Yes, I did.
I know. I stole that take from you, too.
I said Virginia Tech will go undefeated and Logan Thomas will win the Heisman.
You're all in the pool.
Oh.
Circa 2012, 2013, Logan Thomas, 6'6", 245.
Yeah.
Awesome quarterback at Virginia Tech. He didn't throw a lot of touchdowns compared to his interceptions. He ended up becoming a tight end in the NFL.
Yeah, I know. I thought that due to injuries, he was going to get a start at quarterback, and he almost did. And I thought, maybe I'll salvage this. But I said he was going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. He almost became a starter one game. Yes, Eaton.
I have somebody that I thought was not going to be good in the NBA, and has turned out to be phenomenal. I couldn't have been more wrong. But I remember we had this person in studio, and I was like, no way that dude's making it.
Who was it?
Andrew?
Oh,
Trae Young.
Trae Young.
Oh.
Yeah. I was like,
I'm right with you.
no way that dude's going to play well at the next level.
I had another whiff where I thought O.J. Mayo was going to be a better pro than Kevin Love. And I said, man, I'd see him. His ceiling is going to be like 15-8. And I remember when they made that draft day deal, and Paulie and I were discussing it, and who got the better end of the deal. And I thought O.J. Mayo was going to be a better pro than Kevin Love. I whiffed on that one as well. Yeah, Paulie.
I watched a couple Arizona State games in his college career. He didn't play long there. I didn't see James Harden. I thought he was a gunner with not much else, which
he is.
Yeah, but I didn't see the high end. And even when he was early in his career with Oklahoma, I thought he was kind of a guy who's going to be if you go way back, like a Vinnie Johnson who can come off the bench and be a spurt offense guy. I never saw it.
I thought he was just going to be a heavy guy that wasn't going to be able to play in the NBA. I mean, I just remember there's certain guys where you watch and you go, I don't know how they're doing it, but they score when they want to. And that was always the thought when I watched Harden, because I have friends who went to Arizona State. They'd be like, we got a pro here. And I go, all right. And they would tell me about James Harden. And then I would watch and I go, I don't know if he's a pro. It's almost like you're watching Patrick Mahomes where you go, interesting, but I don't know if it translates into the NFL. Yeah, Paul.
I can remember specifically watching Chris Paul at Wake Forest. I'm like, this guy's not that quick. And he doesn't jump at all, really. Yeah. And he's not overtly strong. I didn't see anything special about his game. I thought he was going to be one of those nice bounce-around point guards. I didn't see Chris Paul.
Well, the same thing with Steve Nash. I remember his agent said, you're sleeping on Steve Nash. I go, he played at Santa Clara. I think Bill Duffy was his agent. And I remember going, there's no way this guy can play in the NBA. Like, he got an interesting haircut, and it looks like he weighs about 170 pounds, but he was going to be a bench player. And all of a sudden, when I went to the All-Star Weekend in New York, and the number of players who came up to Steve Nash, all the star players, they loved Steve Nash because they wanted to play with Steve Nash. Yes, he.
You know who I thought was going to be a thing, but has pretty much seems like disappeared? Jeremy Lamb. I thought Jeremy Lamb was going to be a good player.
UConn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he went, I don't know if he went top 10 or not, maybe 12, something like that. But, man, I thought he was going to be good.
Yeah, McLovin.
I got a couple good ones. Tyler Bray out of Tennessee, the quarterback, and Ryan Mallett, the Michigan quarterback. Not so much.
Well, Ryan Mallett, the Michigan quarterback, might have been better than Ryan Mallett, the Arkansas quarterback. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. Rich Rodriguez. Yeah, Paul.
No time for Tate Forcier, Denard Robinson for Michigan.
Oh, man. If I said you could start on time, no fans, or start 6 weeks later with fans, what would you opt for?
Yeah, the problem there, if you slide the schedule back 3-4 weeks, I think that may be doable, although you have finals in December to contend with. But, my guess is we'd probably go without fans. That's just one person's opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. Does that change how you coach? Like, so much of college football is emotion. Like, I don't know. You ever done anything like that?
It is. Yeah, and it's certainly the players on the field, but I think anybody that, if you've ever been in Kinnick Stadium when it's sold out and it's rocking, it adds a lot to the atmosphere. Conversely, when you go on the road, it's a big factor when you play on the road in a good environment, a tough environment. So, yeah, it's going to be very sterile if that's the case. And the thing I would liken it to is when we, usually have a couple scrimmages in the spring and a couple in preseason camp. We're in your stadium and you're competing, but there's nobody there outside of the officials there working that and the coaches. So it's really a strange feeling, quite frankly. And the players are still competing, but it doesn't feel the same. Not like we're accustomed to.
How close did you come to taking the Browns job in 08? You can answer it now, Coach.
Yeah, my response has always been I've always felt like I needed a compelling reason to look elsewhere. And two things about it, I came here in 1981 from Pittsburgh. I grew up in Pittsburgh. I was working for my high school coach, Joe Moore, who is my all-time mentor in sports. So I had an opportunity to come out here in 1981, thinking I'd be here 1 year, 2 years, get back to the East Coast, and we stayed here 9 years. It was hard for both of us, Mary and I, to leave. Then 9 years gone and back here 21. So, we've always had we've loved living here. We loved it as a family, and the professional opportunity's been great. So I never felt like I had a compelling reason to leave. And the other side spot, which, you never count on this. We've had 3 of our sons go through the program. So, it's really hard to put a price tag on that. It's really been a valuable and very unique experience that way.
What is your time frame for getting your athletes back on campus or back working out?
Yeah, I think all of us right now are in limbo, just waiting to see what happens, and it's going to be really interesting because things are going to happen differently across the nation. We're already seeing that. But as far as bare minimums, I think most of us, at least in the conference, agree that at least 6 weeks would be preferred. And then I'm hopeful at least maybe 2 more weeks with our strength conditioning staff prior to us being around our guys. I think 8 weeks would give us a chance to be, decent position for the start of the season.
Who's going to make the final decision? If I looked at just Iowa, is it the governor? Is it the president of the university? Is it going to be the Big Ten? When it comes to playing football, who has the final say on what Iowa does with football?
I think it's probably all the above. And, the conferences, they've been meeting regularly, and I think everybody's on the same page there, certainly. Hopefully we don't get to a scenario where, you get into September and 12 teams can't go and maybe 2 can't. But that's a possibility. So I think they've looked at all those possibilities. But, yeah, certainly I think the conference wants to be together as much as possible, like any league or any conference. But certainly the governor, the president, the athletic director, all those people have a prominent role, and at the bottom of the food chain would be the coaches, I think.
I'm wondering about this, though, Coach. You have Vanderbilt with the SEC, and their priorities aren't going to be football like it would be at other schools there. If it's Northwestern, is their priority going to be football or something else? The fact that certain states are going to be a little bit more permissible to allow, teams to get together, it could be an unfair advantage for some of these teams. Can you see where some schools might be playing and some schools won't be playing football in the fall?
I think it is possible. You can't rule anything out right now. And the bottom line for everything, and it's like everything we're doing all across the country right now, it's about the people's welfare, whether it be the players, the coaches and staff, certainly the fans in the stadium. So everybody involved. But I think that is a possibility. Hopefully it's not a likelihood, but it is a possibility. And that's where some tough decisions are really going to have to get made, I think, when it comes to game time. And then in terms of preparation, no question, I think some people might have, we're already seeing it where certain states are opening up a little faster than others. So, there are a lot of factors in play. And, it's just like most, people in my profession, I guess I probably watch more television and news in the last 6 weeks than I have probably in the last 6 years, maybe 16 years. So, you just hear a lot of opinions. And I think bottom line is a lot of us don't really have answers to a lot of the issues out there right now.
Plus, weren't you Jim Harbaugh's offensive coordinator? Were you there in Baltimore?
Yeah, I was in Coach Mark Broda.
How was Harbaugh as a quarterback?
You have a good staff, or you've done your homework?
I'm old, Coach.
Mark Broda.
I'm right there with you. I'm old.
I remember we had a meeting actually about the quarterbacks that were available that year, and the last thing Coach Mark Broda got up in front of the group and said, just remember this. He goes, Jimmy kind of flies by the seat of his pants. And I was scratching my head wondering, what's that mean? And then when you meet Jim, you kind of figure that out real quickly. But he was fantastic. Did a great job, great leader.
And then you get to compete with him.
Yeah, it's funny how you hang around long enough, you never know what's going to happen. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been really interesting.
Oh my God!
The play of the day.
Runner left side, got it! They're gonna play it and play it.
This is the play of the day. Check this out.
Mahomes embraces the ball, and the unlikely upset, one of the great upsets in NBA playoff history. The 8th seed, a team that was 2 games over 500 on the season. The Denver Nuggets have beaten the team with the best record in the NBA, the Seattle Supersonics.
Dick Enberg with the call on NBC there. 1994 on this day. The Nuggets, an 8 seed, knocked out the number 1 seeded Supersonics. That's the first time an 8 had beaten a 1. It's happened 4 times since then. All right, test me on this, Paulie. The roster for the Nuggets, 1994. I know Dikembe Mutombo was there because we heard Dick Enberg say that. I think Mutombo ended up with the ball on the floor, holding it above his head.
Yeah, that was a classic shot where the cameraman's kind of twisting around.
Okay.
Okay, I'm try to give me the starting lineup if you can.
Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf is on the team.
Correct. Mutombo, of course.
Mutombo. Here's one for you. Bison Dele. Is Bison Dele on that team?
Yeah, he chipped in about 20 minutes off the bench.
All righty.
There's a couple that you'll get.
Brian Stith.
Yes, good call.
Reggie Williams. Out of Georgetown.
Reggie Williams, correct, yes. Starter.
Okay, so Reggie Williams.
You're down to 1 starter, a little energetic guard.
I thought that was Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf.
Another one, kind of a guy who's always like a hybrid starter, backup, high-energy guard. It's a tough one.
Okay. Give me a hint.
The hint is Robert Pack.
I was going to say Mark Macon.
Okay, one more starter, a power forward who is probably McLovin's favorite NBA player of all time.
McLovin's
out of Wake Forest.
Rodney Rogers.
Rodney Rogers.
Okay.
And then they had Dale Ellis coming off the bench.
Oh.
And Jalen Rose.
J-Ro was there?
Yeah, he did have a cup of coffee.
Oh, wow. That's good. All right.
Good job.
Play of the day. Todd, what did you learn today?
All right. So I can't decide which is more flattering for my friends and coworkers, husky, beefy, or that my lack of hair somehow creates an optical illusion that hides the true immense size of my head. So I'm going to be debating that throughout the afternoon. One of those 3 I got to figure out which
How
one I
could
would
you
like to
ever
go
be
with.
lacking in confidence with all the things we say about you? McLovin,
Impossible.
what did you learn?
Logan Thomas, good tight end.
Yeah, no. Satan.
I learned that the front portion of my forehead apparently is slightly bulbous, which I wasn't aware of.
Paulie.
Hey, tough times.
This Mother's Day, call 1-800-FLOWERS. They have limited delivery, so it's important to lock in your order today. 1-800-FLOWERS. Beautiful Mother's Day gifts and bouquets. Go to 1-800-FLOWERS.com. Click on the radio icon, enter code Patrick. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for joining us here on the Dan Patrick Show.